I watched a TV series called The Crown. And when I watched it, of course, it was all about the Queen of England, Princess Diana, and the royal family. When we think of crown, we think of royalty, but you may already know that you are royalty. I am royalty. We are a royal priesthood in Christ. And so I want to go through Revelation chapter 3 and talk about the crown that we have and that we can get. It said, verse 11, I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have so that no one will take your crown. The one who is victorious, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God. Never again will they leave it. I will write on them the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which is coming down out of heaven from my God. And I will also write on them my new name. Whoever has ears, let him hear what the Spirit of is saying to the church. So he is here promising that he is coming soon. Some people these days, like, well, are like biblical days. Well, he hasn't come here yet, so I'm just going to live however I want to live. No, he is coming soon. And there is a kingdom after this. And it's really, guys, just logic, right? We live here a certain number of years, some 60, 70, 80, 30, 40, however many the Lord gives, sometimes even younger than that. But we live here for a certain number of years. But we know that matter is not destroyed. So that there is something about us that's not going to be able to be destroyed. Where is that part of us that cannot be destroyed? Well, there is a part of us that is spiritual that cannot be destroyed. We have our body, we have our soul, and we have our spirit. When we become saved, we allow Jesus Christ, we say, into our heart. But rather than say that, we could say that there is a new birth. We have something born within us. And what is born within us will never die. We will never die. We will change forms, but we will never die. Even this physical body, it will change forms after our spirit leaves it, because the spirit is what animates the body. We will change forms so that our body goes back to wherever it came from. But guess what? If the body goes back to where it came from, where does the spirit go? It goes back to where it came from. So it will either live eternally and you'll have eternal life, or it will die, quote unquote, eternally, and you'll have eternal death. But just as the body goes back, the physical body goes back to dust, the bones, you can remain, but it's all still here. Isn't it curious that it is the spirit that animates the body? So what's going to happen to the spirit? What's going to happen to your spirit? Because it's not going to cease to exist. That's not, even in our mind, an impossibility that it could just not exist once it has existed. No, it's going to exist. So the question is where. And then not only is the question that where, but in what state, in what level, in what socioeconomic class, if it were Earth, would you be in? And so, of course, everybody's taken care of economically in heaven, but there are different levels in heaven. And so, you see throughout the scriptures where, okay, this person's going to be invited to this banquet, and this person's going to get this stone, and this person's going to get this or that. And so, one of the things that you can get is the crown. And the crown is the representative then of your royalty. It's the representative of who you are and all that you have done. And you could be, it's just, you are royalty. That's just it. Reminds me of that movie Wakanda, right? That the royalty there was gorgeous and beautiful. It was a made up place, but it still was full of royalty. It was full of the ideas that royalty has, and the rulership that royalty has, and the privilege that royalty has, and the trials that royalty has. Well, we are royalty and we have our trials, but we will also have a crown and we will have our privileges. So we look at this, he said, I'm coming soon, so hold on to what you have so no one will take your crown. What did they have? They had their integrity. Hold on to your integrity. Why do I say they had their integrity? Well, they were faced with people that wanted to persecute them. They were faced with people that wanted to kill them. They were faced with people who wanted to do them in. If they could be accused of being Christians and go to court and be killed, and it would have been like fleshly tempting to say, "I'm done." Especially if you had a relative that got killed because they're Christian, to say, "I'm done." Even some people right now, when they are believers, but their grandmother passes or their mom passes, or their dad or one of their children or their spouse, and there's no, in their mind, reasonable explanation for it. Like when they say, "Well, my mother was great, my uncle was great," and then they pass, it is trial. It's difficulty. And some people struggle in their faith in that moment to say, "God, if you were a good God, then why would you take them?" Really not even realizing that he promoted them, right? If you really believe the Bible, if you don't believe it, believe it. When people die, they're promoted, okay? So, like, in our idea of promoted, like higher. Um, but because we lose something or we lose someone, it's terrible. It's like it's unbelievably, unspeakably horrible. And that's because it was never supposed to be that way. Go back to the Garden of Eden. Death came after sin. So we have in our heart and our very being that it was never supposed to be this way. There's something inside of us that rebels every time somebody dies, because inside of us, somewhere deep inside, somewhere deep in our spirit, we know it was never supposed to be this way. And so it's hard. But if you endure that, if you can still keep the faith, and most people do, because you can lean into your faith in that moment or you can lean out of it. If somebody leaves, go to heaven, you can say, "Okay, God, I'm gonna lean into you. You know what you're doing, and you're my comfort and you're my strength, and you're all I have, and I'm gonna lean in." Like when everything's gone, Jesus is still there. And it's the most comforting place ever to be when things have happened that hurt. But some people lean out. When they lean away from God, then they get hurt more and more, because there's more and more hopelessness, more and more helplessness, because you don't have any help because you left your help. He said, "You kept my word. You didn't run away when things got tough, and you didn't deny my name." So then, because you kept my word, you didn't run away, you just kept doing and being who I called you to be, kept loving me. In spite of life, you kept loving me. You kept believing in me. You stuck with me. So I am never going to not stick with you. Not even in heaven will I not stick with you. And nobody's going to take your crown. Nobody's going to cause you to stumble so much that you barely get in. And you lose your crown, you lose your reward, you lose your sense of rulership, your dominion, all that I have for you, all that I want to give to you. You're not going to lose any of it because you just stuck with me. Yeah, like, I know it was hard, but stick with me. And not only that, verse 12, "The one who is victorious, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God." So and actually, guys, this historically happens. It's so cool when you see prophecy fulfill, because this particular city, Philadelphia, well, they were under Roman rule, and then Roman rule fell, and this church is still there. Like the believers are still there. Roman rule fell, and then Byzantine era came, and the church was still thriving. Like it was a pillar in the temple of God. It was firm. It was solid, and they had what they call it, pastors, and they had bishops, and they had all of that even through the Byzantine era. And the truth is that even today, like modern day, this city is now in Turkey. It is a city of Christians. It is, not fake Christians, not people that got their own agenda and use Christ as a cover to pursue their own agenda, but real Christians live in this city today, and it is known as a Christian city. So he said, if you guys are overcome, the one who is victorious, I'm going to make you a pillar in the temple of my God. And how would you even like to be a pillar in the temple of your family? I would love that. I would love that. To be like, I'm gonna hold this up. I'm gonna hold this up. He said, we want to be pillars. We want to be pillars in our family. We want to be pillars in our community. We want to be pillars in God's kingdom. And Jesus said, like, if you want to be a pillar in my kingdom, then all you got to do is keep your integrity when it comes to me. Like, lean in, don't lean out. And trust me and walk with me and don't ever deny me. And I will make you a pillar. And it really, okay, this makes sense too, guys. And the reason that it makes sense is the characteristics of a believer that's a true believer, the fruit of the Spirit that a believer has, that a believer demonstrates, is the glue that holds society together. It is the love that we have that holds humanity together. It is a peace that we can make that holds humanity together, right? It is the joy that we have that makes other people around us smile, that hold us together. It is the fruit of the Spirit that really binds people, humanity together. And the more people that are practicing this real Christianity, where we are intensely loving everybody we see, instead of honking our horns because they do something we don't like, right? Okay, I get out your business, mine too, right? But it was so funny. I was driving the other day, and somebody was in the lane right next to me, and there was an 18-wheeler, like an 18-wheeler that started pulling over and was about to run into us because we were like in the left lane, the 18-wheeler was in the right lane, and they just started pulling over. And my immediate response was, bless you. And it wasn't like the malicious, well, bless you, No, it was just like, bless you. And whoever was driving the 18-wheeler, they didn't mean it. They didn't. They would never run over me intentionally. Lord didn't allow an accident. Thankfully, I was able to slow up and let him get over. But how easily do you say, bless you? That's how you become a pillar in the temple of God, in the temple of your family, and the temple of the people around you. Gee whiz, we're out of time for today. I really wanted to finish this church today, but we'll do it again tomorrow. Okay, love you guys. Bye-bye.